Continuing with the major sociological perspectives, we continue with interactionism. Among the interactionists, phenomenology is another sociological perspective. We may call it as science of phenomena. So the emphasis is on close observation of human experience, and especially the ways in which the basic categories of understanding are formed. That is, close observation of human experience, that how the human beings try to study the reality, how do they understand that reality. So we are looking at their perception, their perspectives. It's not from outside that we try to create the meaning of that reality. Here we are trying to understand how the individuals understand that reality, how do they interpret. If we are using the word violence, it's not the definition of violence which is given by the researcher, how the person, let's say, defines violence, whether he thinks he is having violence against somebody else or somebody else is having violence. This is from the angle of the people who are being observed, how they interpret that reality. So this perspective was led by Schutz. It has a major influence on ethnomethodology, an approach by Garfinkel and his colleagues. So ethnomethodology, when we try to break this word, we see that ethno, it might refer to the people, method, again the study of methods, and ology. Ology is the study of then methods, and then ethno means by the people. Study of the methods used by people to understand and interpret the reality. So we are looking at from the angle of the people's interpretations of the phenomena rather than we are interpreting from outside. So the methods ordinary people use to construct their everyday understanding. So it's not being outside, it is from the inside. Their understanding of social life. So how do they understand the people around them, the society around them? Then how do they understand the confronting the practical challenges? So how do they look at the practical challenges and how do they understand and try to overcome them? Then also understanding of shaping reality through the ways in which they conceptualize it. So whatever is the reality or the phenomenon, we are looking at from the angle of the interpretation of the people. So that is ethnomethodology. So it is more like bottom up than top down approach to the study of culture. So it's not the people outside, they are going to interpret that culture. We are looking into the interpretations of the people who hold that culture, who practice that culture. For the macro sociologists, humans are shaped by the social system in which they act. So humans are shaped by the social system. It's more like top-down approach, that whatever a person is, he is what the system has created him. With respect to the micro-sociologists, it is the social system itself which is created by the people. So a social system might be, let's say, at the bottom, whereas the people's thinking and interpretation and understanding is on top. So rather than social order being imposed on individuals by the system, micro-sociologists see social order as produced from below, and that production of social order is through the exchange of social interactions. So people's interactions create an equilibrium in the society, smooth functioning of the society. So that is their creation. The system is created by the society. So social order is created as well as maintained by the institutions which have been created or which are being created by the people themselves. So that system or society, whatever the way is functioning, is dependent on the ability of the human beings to communicate with one another through the use of symbols, and these symbols become part of their communication, and there are meanings attached to these symbols. Symbols might be the movement of hands, symbols might be let's say thumbs up, movement, symbols could be anything else. So it is a highly evolved capacity for communication based on complex, abstract, symbolic systems. And this creation of these symbols and the meanings attached to those symbols is the specialty of human beings. And that is how they create a language. And the language becomes a means of communication, and communication is part of the interaction. So the action of one person is understood by the other person, and then meanings attached to it, and on the basis of that meaning some kind of response is given from the other person. So the interaction is characterized by three common elements. We look at the emphasis is on face-to-face interaction of human beings rather than on the working of the social system as an abstract entity. So it's at the micro level, person to person, face to face, and we see that focus on interactions of concrete human beings rather than the entities like the social class, which might be used as an abstract kind of thing. So emphasis on meanings rather than on functions. So sociology has to be an interpretive science, how individuals interpret the reality, what meanings do they derive out of that reality. So objective accounts of subjective motivations of individual actions. So whatever the individuals have interpreted, we in sociology, in this perspective, we would like to, let's say, elaborate in an objective manner. So look at the meanings that people assign to their actions and interactions. So emphasis is on lived experience rather than an abstracted concept of society. So focus on the way human agents or human beings or individuals experience regularized patterns of social interaction and how do they support them. So maybe exchange of greetings, for example, is an important ritual, and what meanings can be attached to it, what symbolic meanings are attached to it, and if we are moving in a new group, we have to understand how to, let's say, undertake this greeting. We have to understand and learn the meanings attached to that, and accordingly we try to use this greeting in that particular situation.